Welcome back, guitar players. Corey Hicks here, and today we're going to be talking about arpeggios for beginners. So I'm going to give you 5 arpeggio shapes to practice, and this is going to give you major 7, dominant 7th, minor 7 flat 5, and fully diminished arpeggios. And these are some of the most common arpeggios that you're going to need on the guitar, and we're going to learn them in a way that helps you to memorize them all. I'm going to show you how to practice them in keys and how to do them cycle 4 to give you all of those arpeggios. So if we have 5 shapes and we have 12 root notes, that's going to give us 60 arpeggios in this lesson. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to know about an arpeggio is that it is the notes of a chord played individually. If I have a C major 7th chord, this chord I'm playing 1, 3, 5, 7 of the C major scale. So I'm playing C, E, G, and B. Root, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now, the interesting thing about the guitar is that we don't have a lot of places on the neck where we can play things in a line like that, in close position. A lot of our chords are going to be in a different format. So, for example, this C major 7 chord that I have here is root 5th, 7th, 3rd, giving us C, G, B, and E. So the other thing to understand is that everywhere on the neck that I have those same notes, I am going to have a C major 7th chord. So all of these shapes I just played are going to be C major 7ths. Okay? So the first thing that we need to do when we're memorizing our arpeggios is we need to think of them as the note and the interval. So for example, I have C, the first, or the root, and then I have E, the 3rd, G, the 5th, and B, the 7th. So I have my first finger on C here at the 3rd fret of the A string. My pinky's going to grab the E note, which is found on the 7th fret of the A string. Middle finger is grabbing the G note on the D string on the 5th fret. And my first finger is going to grab the 7th, which is on the G string on the 4th fret. I have the octave, or the next occurrence of the note C, here on the 5th fret of the G string. Now, I like to do what I call a roll, where I just kind of work up the fingering to a place where I could use it on the neck. So, from that C note, I'm going to flatten my middle finger and grab the E note, which is on the B string on the 5th fret, grab the G note on the high E string on the 3rd fret, and finish the 2nd octave by playing the B note on the high E string at the 7th. So when I look at these arpeggios, I think of them as C the 1st, E the 3rd, G the 5th, B the 7th, C the 1st, E the 3rd, G the 5th, B the 7th, and that's how I think about them. I often get questions from students about should I think about it as the note or the interval. If I had to pick, I would say think of it as the interval, because just because you know where an E is doesn't mean that that's not the major 7th of an F major 7 chord, for example. So the next thing we're going to do is just practice this, so that we can play it without much hassle, okay? Now, this thing can be moved all over the neck, so I can move it to F major if I wanted, so that's an F major 7th. I just found an F on the A string. Or B flat major 7th over there. Here's E flat major 7th, and I could do that cycle 4, of course. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, and G. This is going to allow me to find something wherever I want. So for example, if I need an E flat major 7th arpeggio, I just locate the E flat note here, and then I have the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th of that particular thing. In this case, it would be E flat and G and B flat and D natural. Now that we know this, we're going to really focus in on those interval names, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, because it's going to help us to create the other arpeggios. So the first thing is going to be creating a dominant 7th chord. That's going to be 1, 3, 5, flat 7. So, flat 7 is just taking the 7th we did in the major 7 chord and lowering it by 1 fret. Okay? Now, when I grab the root on this dominant 7th chord, the octave of the C note, I'm going to be using my ring finger here because we like to maintain a 1 finger per fret type of thing. I'm going to then flatten my ring finger to grab the major 3rd on the B string, 5th again with my first finger on the high E, and now the pinky is going to grab the 6th fret on the high E string, giving me B flat. Okay? So now we have both chords. We have C major 7 and C dominant 7th. Next, we're going to take this and we're going to make it a minor 7th. So if you notice what we did, we took a C major 7th, and by lowering the 7th, we got C dominant 7th. If we take a C dominant 7th and we lower the 3rd, we get C minor 7th. So a C dominant 7th arpeggio is just a C major 7 with a flatted 7, and a C minor 7 is just a C dominant 7th with a flatted 3. So they build on each other here. So I have my first finger on C, the pinky's going to grab E flat, which is the flatted 3rd. I'm grabbing G, the perfect 5th, the flatted 7th with my first finger. The ring finger's going to grab C again. Then I'm going to complete the octave. You're going to find that C minor arpeggio here of the triad, C, E flat, G. You can refer back to our triads video about that. And then I'm going to still grab the B flat on top. And I have to say, this particular minor 7th arpeggio is one of the most common things you will find in all of jazz, rock, pop, blues. It has been used all the time by guitar greats to construct solos. Now, if any of these types of arpeggios are giving you sort of problems, just fingering them, or if it's any facility problems, meaning can you play it without thinking, I really just recommend just taking that one shape. Maybe you can move it around a little bit like this. But the goal is to play that a number of times so that you get really familiar with it. I remember when I was learning these that I would sit there for 15 minutes straight. 15 minutes straight without stopping. Just keep on playing. Phone rings, don't answer it. Text message, don't answer it. Have to go to the bathroom? You can wait, right? So you just keep on playing it. We want intense practice. If you're practicing arpeggios for 15 minutes, it needs to be 15 minutes without distraction. So now we have that minor 7th arpeggio, and what we're going to do is lower the 5th to get a minor 7 flat 5. Remember, these chords are exactly what they say they are. A minor 7 flat 5 chord is literally a minor 7 chord with a flat 5. This is also known as a half diminished chord. So we have 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, flat 5. Notice I'm grabbing that with the first finger over here, and I have my pinky on top. So I have 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. Okay? And so let me take that, and I can just move up that and then add a note if I need to do that. But the goal, again, is just to make it into one smooth motion that you can play without much of a change. Okay. Finally, we're going to take our minor 7 flat 5, and we're going to lower the 7th yet again to be a fully diminished 7th chord. A fully diminished 7th chord is 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7. 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7, which is the same as our natural 6. 1, flat 3, flat 5, double flat 7. That's going to give you an A note. Okay, so let's go through what I would call the parallel method, where I'm going to play C major 7 arpeggio, C dominant 7th arpeggio, C minor 7th arpeggio, C minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, and finally a C diminished 7th arpeggio. And I'll play each one twice. Okay, and so you just practice those. Notice that because we have 12 different roots on the neck, we are going to have 60 of these arpeggios, because you can take any of these arpeggios, say a dominant 7th built on our F, and you can get F dominant 7th. Okay? And so we have to be able to be free over the neck to play them in all those different locations. And then finally, the last thing that we're going to have to do is play this diatonically. Diatonically, it means we're going to play all the chords that are native to that key. So, for the key of C major, we're going to have C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G dominant 7th, A minor 7, B minor 7 flat 5, and C major 7. So let's watch me play through this diatonic series of 7th chords using our arpeggios. So you should be able to do that for any key. You can do those cycle 4 as well. Start with C major and then move to F major, play that, all of its diatonic arpeggios. So these have a really awesome sound. They can outline chords really well. If I'm playing like a D minor, something in D minor. And so we have 3 minor 7th arpeggios that are together in the key. So we have it on the 2nd scale degree, the 3rd scale degree, and the 6th. So I can string them together. It's kind of a fun little thing that you can do. It gives you the exact same fingering in 3 different places per key, and that gives us a lot to work with. Okay? All right. So I hope this has been really helpful for you to start off with your first 5 arpeggio shapes, giving you all 60 arpeggios that you're going to need on the A string. Now, of course, every single position of the major scale has all 7 arpeggios in there, and that would be the next place that I would go in your development. But this is just a really great place to start, and it's going to give you all of the tools necessary to start making music with arpeggios. So if this has been helpful, please like and subscribe. And of course, I have my Patreon information in the description below, so you can check that out. And for $5 a month, you can come over to my Patreon, become just a member of our community, where you're going to be able to have all these different like PDFs and diagrams, lesson information. I'm going to be adding a lot of content this summer, including albums of the day, licks of the day, that type of thing as well. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today. And again, I'm Corey Hicks, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.